Last summer, I was invited to a friend's barbecue party. I was talking to my friend's father, Steve, who was holding a beer, wearing an old t shirt, and in a life is good mood. He's 68, retired for 3 years, and I kept asking him, "How's retirement going?" I already knew what kind of answer I'd get. Something like, "Well, we're managing, we're getting by." But what Steve told me was so surprising, I almost dropped my plate. He stopped, looked at me, and said, "Man, I'm richer now than I ever was when I was working." Wait a minute. The guy isn't getting a paycheck. He doesn't go to work in the morning. He has no boss, no meetings. But his bank account is growing. How is that even possible? I honestly couldn't wrap my head around it. I thought to myself, maybe he won the lottery or something. But as I started looking into it, I realized this isn't just some special stroke of luck for Steve. This is a situation experienced by millions of people around the world. No one at school or work ever mentions it, but it's very real. And today I'm going to explain exactly that to you. Why do some people get even richer in retirement without even working? Reason 1. The tax system is changing completely. While you're working, the government takes a significant deduction from your paycheck every month before it even hits your account. Federal taxes, state taxes, Social Security, and Medicare, when added together, these can sometimes account for 30%, 40%, or even 50% of your income. So you earn $100,000, but the money you actually take home and can spend is $60,000, maybe $65,000. The rest goes to the government and you'll never see it again. So, what happens in retirement? Take a look at the table. $30,000 from Social Security, $30,000 from a 401k or IRA, so you're spending a total of $60,000. However, only half of your Social Security income is taxable. That is, $15,000 of the $30,000 is taken into account. Add your IRA withdrawal to that, and you get a total of $45,000. Then comes a standard deduction, approximately $17,000 for those over 65. So, while you spend $60,000, you'll find that you're only paying taxes on $28,000. If you also have a Roth account or are married, that number goes down even further. In other words, you're spending the same amount of money, but you start paying nearly half of what you paid while working. It's like getting a raise without working. Many people, myself included, never even consider this. The second reason, your expenses are rising rapidly. Don't say, "But I'm earning less money just yet." Hold on a second. How much are you spending on work right now? You commute to and from work every morning. Gas, maintenance, parking fees, work clothes, dry cleaning, lunch, coffee on the go. These may seem small, but when added up over a year, they amount to a significant sum. Plus, consider this. You don't have time while you're working. Because you don't have time, you end up paying for everything. You come home from work exhausted in the evening, and since you can't cook, you order takeout. You spend your weekends with the kids or relaxing, and you hire someone to take care of the garden. The cleaning service doesn't come because you don't have the energy left to clean. All these expenses for convenience just keep adding up. In retirement, the picture changes. You have time, you cook your own meals, tend your own garden, and take care of things yourself. And before you know it, you're keeping an extra 2 or 3,000 lira in your pocket each month. On top of that, if the mortgage is paid off and the kids have moved out, that means their expenses are over too. Kids are expensive, my friend. If you ask, "Where did my money go?" That's where it went. But once that chapter closes, expenses really hit rock bottom. The third reason, compound interest is finally starting to work its magic. Take this seriously because this is where the real magic happens. When you start, you put $500 into the account every month, see that you've earned $50, and think, what kind of investment is this? Why am I doing this? And you're right, it seems slow in the early years. However, compound interest doesn't grow linearly, it grows exponentially. What does this mean? For the first 20 years, you work, you invest, and you get tired. But in the last 10 or 15 years, your money works on its own and grows much faster than the amount you originally invested. I've seen people who invested a total of $300,000 over 35 years. When he retired, his portfolio was worth $1.2 million. That entire difference, $900,000, came from growth, compound interest, dividends, and capital gains. It all adds up. And what happens in retirement? That growth doesn't stop. You withdraw $50,000 a year, but the portfolio grows by $70,000 in the same year. So you're actually getting richer every year and you're not even working. It's exactly like collecting a few eggs from a golden goose while the goose keeps growing. And most people don't even think it's possible. The fourth reason, this is an asset far more valuable than Social Security. I know, Everyone says, that system is bankrupt. You won't see a single penny. But it's still making payments right now, and the average monthly payment is $1,800. If you're married, that's about $3,000 a month for the two of you. It's a guaranteed lifetime income adjusted for inflation. Think about it. Once your basic expenses are covered, you don't have to withdraw money from your investment account. The money stays there, it keeps growing. Social Security is actually a shield, a guardian silently standing watch over your portfolio. Don't underestimate it. Furthermore, the longer you wait to start receiving Social Security benefits, the higher your monthly payment will be. If you start receiving benefits early, at age 62, the amount will be lower. If you wait until age 70, it will reach the maximum level. If you are in good health and expect to live a long life, you should definitely factor this in. For some people, this difference exceeds $100,000 over a 10-year period. Reason number 5. Healthcare costs skyrocket once Medicare kicks in. Getting private health insurance before age 65 can turn into a complete nightmare, especially if you retire early. I knew a couple who retired at age 62 and were forced to buy the private insurance on the open market. They were paying $2,000 a month for both of them. Think about that. Just $2,000 for health insurance. But when they turned 65 and switched to Medicare, that amount dropped to $400. That's $1,600 a month back in their pockets, about $20,000 a year. That money goes towards savings, investments, or simply a more comfortable life. The first 3 years of retirement, between ages 62 and 65, are the toughest in terms of healthcare costs. But once you cross that bridge, you see the picture change completely. Reason number 6, selling your home triggers a wealth surge, not a wealth crisis. Consider this scenario. You bought that house 30 years ago. Your children grew up there, you've built memories there, you've paid off the mortgage. The house has appreciated in value, and right now, it's just you and your spouse living in a 5-bedroom, 200 square meter home. What's the point of keeping it anymore? You sell your house for $500,000. You buy a small, well-maintained, and easy-to-live-in apartment for $250,000. You'll have $250,000 in cash left over. Additionally, in the US, there's a capital gains tax exemption of up to $250,000 on the sale of a primary residence. If you're married, this amount increases to $500,000. Therefore, most of this profit stays with you. It doesn't go to the government. Plus, maintenance costs are lower and your electricity, water, and natural gas bills are lower, as are your overall living expenses. That money goes into an investment account and starts to grow. I've seen people do this. Their net worth suddenly increased by $300,000 or $400,000 just by selling a small apartment. I understand the emotional attachment. Every home has a story, but the financial figures speak for themselves. Reason number 7, retirees don't actually have to just sit around and wait. And that was what surprised me the most. Steve spends 10 hours a week consulting with his former clients. No boss, no meetings, no pressure. He does the work he loves as much as he wants. Others are turning what they started as a hobby into a small source of income. He sells handmade crafts, teaches online classes, does photography, and writes a blog. And here's the best part. They don't have to use this money to cover their living expenses. Their basic expenses are already covered by Social Security and savings. So this extra income goes entirely towards savings or investments. Think about it. You're putting income you don't need to live on into investments. This makes a striking difference in how quickly your net worth can grow. 8. Reason. Unexpected income becomes more common during retirement. While this is a somewhat more personal and variable topic, it is a statistical fact. Most people inherit money from their parents in their 60s or 70s. Even if the amount is small, this money continues to grow once it's added to your account. You finally sell the real estate you've held onto for decades. The company's old stock options are finally becoming exercisable. A long-running insurance lawsuit is coming to a close. These aren't planned events, but they'll often arise in the second half of one's retirement. And when that money hits your accounts, since you no longer have to spend it, it directly contributes to your wealth accumulation. A realistic perspective. These things don't just happen on their own. Hold on a second. I need to be honest here. Everything I've described applies to people who have built a solid foundation. If you haven't saved enough, if you're entering retirement in debt, if your expenses exceed your income, or if you're withdrawing money from your investment account too quickly, the situation is completely reversed. And that's when a retirement can truly feel like a financial cliff. But if you've saved regularly throughout your life, avoided major mistakes, and entered this phase debt-free, then retirement isn't what you fear. On the contrary, it's a time when the smart decisions you've made over decades finally start paying off in full. Compound interest has hit its peak. The tax burden has hit rock bottom. Spending has plummeted, and all these forces are pushing you upward at the same time. If you're currently saving money, that's good news for you. If you're in your 30s or 40s, making regular investments, keeping your spending under control, and staying away from certain bad habits, you could end up like Steve when you retire, standing at a barbecue party with a beer in hand, saying, "Man, I was actually poorer when I was working." And that doesn't necessarily mean winning the lottery or inheriting a fortune. It's the natural result of making small but wise decisions over the course of decades. Steve told me a lot that day, but the most important thing was this: retirement isn't where life ends, it's where all the systems finally start working in your favor. And I think that's a truly beautiful idea.